Okay, so some movies are good enough to prevail in spite of a distractingly bad performance, but there's no doubt that a single weak link in an ensemble cast can be extremely off-putting to the point of literally ruining a movie. If an actor doesn't vibe right with the rest of the cast or doesn't give the director what they want, the results can be awkward, annoying, or straight up cringeworthy. Rather than add value to the movie, these iffy and poorly cast actors can actively detract from an otherwise appealing film. And with that in mind, there's certainly a lot to be worried about where these 10 actors' roles in upcoming movies are concerned. Whether through suspiciously risky stunt casting or simply actors who appear to be wrong for their roles, in each case there's a high likelihood of them derailing their respective movies and possibly inviting future Razzie nominations in the process. Of course, this is all just speculation coming out of the What Culture writing room. We could be wrong. Hell, we want to be wrong, but it might be smart to temper your expectations from these ill-fitting actors in their upcoming projects. I'm Will for What Culture, and here are 10 actors who will ruin 2020 films. 10. Cardi B, Fast and Furious 9. Word broke late last year that rapper Cardi B had been cast in the 9th main Fast and the Furious movie, and most rightly assumed that she'd simply be showing up for a harmless cameo. But Vin Diesel soon enough took to Instagram to post a video of himself and the rapper, not only confirming her involvement, but also seeming to suggest she'll be showing up for more than a quick cinematic hello. In the video, Cardi B is clearly kitted out in combat uniform and claims to be tired from the shoot, implying that she's going to be a part of a major action sequence, in possibly cringe-worthy fashion no less. Though Cardi B is a fine actress, it's easy to imagine her being an irritating distraction in a Fast and the Furious action sequence, and giving us all horrible flashbacks of Ronda Rousey's horrible cameo back in Furious 7. 9. Jared Leto, Morbius. Though it would be stupid to call Jared Leto a bad actor, the guy has a well-earned Oscar for one, he's certainly in a bit of a dodgy career patch at the moment. His much-anticipated role in Suicide Squad was his first movie performance in 3 years and was massively divisive among both fans and critics. And since then, his only movie roles have been in Blade Runner 2049 and the Netflix thriller The Outsider. Basically, Leto has categorically failed to erase the stink of Suicide Squad in the 4 years since. And with him now set to play Marvel Comics' brooding vampiric anti-hero Morbius the Living Vampire, it's possible he might once again give us a wildly miscalculated performance. Leto is clearly an actor whose theatrical excesses need to be modulated by a talented director, and there's not much proof that journeyman filmmaker Daniel Espinosa will be able to curtail Leto's more off-putting instincts. 8. Millie Bobby Brown, Godzilla vs. Kong. Millie Bobby Brown is an incredible actress. Stranger Things, guys, come on. Her transition into the world of film was inevitable, and many were excited when she was cast in a pivotal role in last year's Godzilla King of the Monsters. But unsurprisingly, the monster sequel's human element was kind of bad, and poor Millie was stranded with the worst of it, dealing with a mother who turns out to be an insane eco-terrorist. She is set to return for Godzilla vs. Kong near the end of the year, and if the rumored impending reshoots are any indication, the film is probably in a spot of trouble. But more to the point, Brown is likely to be stuck with the lion's share of the terrible human drama once again. As we can imagine, she'll have to spend most of the film moping about her dead mother while being pushed into an even more focal role. There's no reason to believe that the human drama side will be scaled back this time, especially with the massive size of the film's ensemble cast. So it's probable that the poor young actress will have to try and find her way out of a gaping dramatic hole, and most likely fail, just as anyone would. 7. Jack Whitehall, Jungle Cruise. Jack Whitehall is certainly an entertaining comedian, though he's sure to face plenty of resistance as he attempts to break into Hollywood with his supporting role in Disney's upcoming adventure tentpole, Jungle Cruise. Whitehall will play McGregor Houghton, the younger brother of Emily Blunt's female lead, Lily Houghton, and will reportedly be the second ever openly gay character to appear in a Disney film. The news immediately sparked backlash given that Whitehall himself isn't gay, but more specifically that his character will reportedly be something of a camp stereotype, which might have got laughs in the 70s, but these days is just kind of lame. Then again, with the film undergoing reshoots last summer, many months after this controversy started, it's at least possible that Whitehall's character has been retooled in post-production. Either way, it seems a very controversy-ridden breakout role for the young comedian, and one that certainly doesn't play to his traditional strengths. 6. Milla Jovovich, Monster Hunter. In fairness, there's very little that sounds appealing about an adaptation of the classic Monster Hunter video game franchise being helmed by Resident Evil's Paul W.S. Anderson. And of course, Anderson has cast his wife, Milla Jovovich, in the role of the protagonist, Natalie Artemis, a UN military officer who gets transported to an alternate dimension where she must stop the giant monsters from invading Earth. God, it sounds bad. Is Milla an inherently terrible actress? Not really, but she's got an appalling track record when it comes to appearing in quality movies, and as a result tends to give lousy to mediocre performances as a result. One need only look at her performances in the Resident Evil movies and the recent Hellboy reboot to get an idea of how she'll most likely fare in Monster Hunter. The same flatline reading for everything whilst refusing to embrace the silliness of the schlock she agrees to star in. 5. ANSEL ELGORT, West Side Story. Succeed or fail, Steven Spielberg's remake of West Side Story is going to be one of the year's biggest movies, and the romantic musical will be headlined by rising star Ansel Elgort, who will play the charming former gang member Tony. In fairness, Elgort has been a singer for years and clearly isn't bad, but there's obviously a major difference between some stripped-down YouTube solo sessions and portraying one of the most famous musical characters of all time. Given that Elgort looked like a kid playing dress-up in last year's Oscar bait failure The Goldfinch, it's not quite believable that he'll be able to employ all the charm and swagger necessary to pull the role off. And then there are those who just find him a bit annoying. That's not to say that Spielberg won't bring out the best in Elgort, but for now, it's best to err on the side of skepticism. 4. Annabelle Wallis, Malignant. Saw, The Conjuring, and Aquaman filmmaker James Wan has been keeping his lips firmly sealed on his upcoming horror movie Malignant, though rumours suggest that it's going to pay homage to the Italian giallo subgenre. Annabelle Wallis has been cast as the currently unnamed protagonist, and as mean as it may sound, Wallis might be one of the blandest actresses to break through into the Hollywood mainstream over the past few years. Her dry as sawdust performances in the Wan-produced Annabelle, The Mummy, and especially Tag, there's no reason to believe that Malignant will be any different. Wan is obviously a creative horror filmmaker, but if there's anything that can ruin his movie, it's a totally uninvolving and forgettable lead performance. 3. Vin Diesel, Bloodshot. While we're making fun of actors who earn way more money than me, let's be honest, Vin Diesel has all the charisma of a cardboard box. That's probably the main reason he's failed to hit big outside the Fast and the Furious movies, beyond playing a monosyllabic tree in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He is serviceable enough as the gruff hero in his bread and butter action franchises such as The Fast and the Furious, Riddick, and of course Pulp Fiction, but his numerous attempts to further diversify over the years, in the likes of A Man Apart and The Last Witch Hunter, have largely fallen flat. Superhero action thriller Bloodshot is his latest attempt to crowbar open a new franchisable IP for himself, but even with the acclaimed Valiant comic source material to draw from, one suspects that without a charismatic ensemble to prop him up, this is probably destined for dud territory. Diesel is absolutely one of those actors better in a group of more effervescent performers, hence his success in the Fast and the Furious franchise, but when he's pushed to the front line, his weaknesses unfortunately become painfully apparent. 2. Ana de Armas, Blonde. Ana de Armas has gone from strength to strength as an actress over the last few years, with especially memorable roles in both Blade Runner 2049 and Knives Out, while she's also set to appear in the upcoming Bond film No Time to Die. So, when we worry that she might ruin Andrew Dominik's upcoming Marilyn Monroe biopic Blonde, it's not against her acting chops, but simply a feeling that she's been wildly miscast in the role. Armas obviously fits the physical requirements to play Monroe, but there's one major hurdle here, and that's her thick Cuban accent. It's not all that easy to believe that she'll be able to convincingly ditch her distinct twang and match Monroe's signature voice, as is such a vital component of playing the legendary actress. To her credit, she claimed in a recent interview that she had 2-hour nightly vocal coaching sessions in an attempt to nail the voice, but even so, the odds are certainly against her precisely replicating Monroe's voice. Honestly, this is the one I'd like to be the most wrong about though. She is ultimately a fantastic actress. 1. Will Forte, SCOOB. Look, I love Scooby-Doo, I just do. Mystery Incorporated is top 10 kids TV shows of all time, I swear to God. However, the upcoming animated Scooby-Doo reboot SCOOB has made the unfortunate decision to cast Will Forte as Shaggy. Forte is a perfectly talented comedian, but he certainly does not embody the coarse-throated stoner vibe fans expect from Shaggy. Given that Matthew Lillard gave a fantastic performance as Shaggy in both live-action movies and has enjoyed a lucrative career voicing Shaggy in animation ever since, it's an extremely questionable recast that makes no sense whatsoever. You could argue that Warner Brothers was opting for a more squeaky clean vibe that hews away from the more subtly adult prior iterations of the character, but isn't that cheeky, rough-hewn scuzziness exactly why people love Shaggy so much? Forte's version just sounds like a bland, sanitized version without any distinct personality of its own. And to make matters worse, nobody even bothered to tell Matthew Lillard that he'd been fired from voicing the role. Ouch. And there you have it, folks, 10 actors who will probably ruin 2020 films. Once again, this is just speculation, and once again, we really want to be wrong, but the signs do point to a future where these films are held back by their casting choices. I'm Will for What Culture, thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you next time.